You're 23 years old. You just got sentenced to 5 years for a crime you won't talk about. You walk through those gates for the first time. The sounds, the smells, the looks. Everything tells you this is a different world. But you have one thing nobody here knows yet. You were a tattoo artist on the outside. Not a great one, not even a good one, but you knew how to hold a machine, how to stretch skin, how to make ink stay. In here, that's not just a skill. That's currency. Rank 1, that was me. And my first week inside, I didn't touch a machine, I didn't touch ink, I just watched. I noticed the guy 3 cells down, fresh work on his arm. Crude lines, but fresh. Someone in here was tattooing. So I started asking around, carefully. In prison, asking the wrong question to the wrong person gets you hurt. A week in, I saw it for the first time. A homemade tattoo machine. Here's what you need to understand. This thing is nothing like a professional setup, a ballpoint pen housing, a motor pulled from a CD player or a fan, a guitar string bent into a needle, a battery from someone's contraband stash. That's the whole machine. And the ink, it's not coming from a bottle. Burnt plastic, baby oil, sometimes urine, mixed together until it turns black. That's prison ink. My first thought, that's disgusting. My second thought, I could do this better. But inside, you don't just start, you have to earn the right. So I cleaned, I fetched, I watched. I wasn't an artist yet. I was an apprentice all over again. Except this apprenticeship didn't have a curriculum. It had survival. Month 2, I'd made connections, proven I wasn't a snitch, wasn't a problem. Someone decided I was ready to learn. Not tattooing, ink making. Let me tell you how prison ink actually works. The most common method, you burn plastic, usually a checker piece or food container, over a flame. You hold a cold surface above it to collect the soot. That soot is your pigment. Mix it with baby oil, shampoo, or in some places, urine. The acidity helps bind it. Another method, melt styrofoam into oil, creates a thick black substance that sticks to skin. Tabsolutely. Available everywhere. Different prisons have different recipes. Some use burnt paper, some use shoe polish, diluted and filtered. Some have access to actual ink, contraband from the medical wing or smuggled in during visitation. The quality varies wildly. Bad ink causes infections that spread through entire cell blocks. Good ink stays dark for decades. I started making ink for the established artists. Wasn't tattooing yet, but I was part of the supply chain. And that was my first taste of prison currency. You provide something people want, suddenly you have value. You also get your first target on your back. Guards don't like tattooing. It's contraband. It's gang identification. It's a health hazard. They find your stash, you're going to solitary. Maybe more time added to your sentence. But I did it anyway, because in a place where you have nothing, having a skill means having power. The Yank 3. 6 months in, I was finally allowed to tattoo. Allowed isn't official. There's no certificate, no license. I just earned enough respect that the established artists would let me work without interference. My first client was a guy who couldn't afford the better artists. He wanted 3 dots on his hand. Mi vida loca, my crazy life. I'd done this design 100 times on the outside. But here, everything was different. My machine was a motor from a fan, salvaged during cleaning duty. The needle was a guitar string I got in trade for 2 packs of cigarettes. The ink was my own recipe. I had no gloves, no sterile environment, no proper lighting. I was sitting on a concrete floor in a cell, working by the light through the bars. The machine buzzed louder than a professional gun. The vibration was uneven. The needle depth was inconsistent. I had to compensate with my hand. More pressure here, less there. The guy winced. Prison ink hurts more. The formula is crude and it drags going in. 10 minutes later, I was done. 3 imperfect dots on his hand. He looked at it, nodded, and handed me 3 instant coffee packets. That was my first payment as a prison tattoo artist. 3 coffee packets. In here, that's a good rate. I kept working. Names, numbers, simple symbols. Couldn't do portraits, machines weren't precise enough, ink didn't shade properly, but I could do letters, lines, basic shapes. And I started building a reputation, not for quality, My work was still rough, but for consistency. I showed up, I delivered. I didn't talk about what I saw. That last part matters, because the tattoos I was doing, they meant things. Here's what you need to know about prison tattoo meanings. 3 dots, gang affiliation, general. Not specific to any one gang, but signals I've chosen the life. Teardrop, someone died. Either the wearer lost someone or took someone. You learn not to ask which. Cobweb on the elbow, time served, the wearer did their years. Numbers and letters, area codes, set names, identifiers, you're better off not understanding. I wasn't just an artist anymore, I was a documentarian of criminal resumes. Year 2, something shifted. I no longer traded for coffee or cigarettes. My currency now was protection, information, and favors. When I walked through the yard, people nodded. Not everyone, but enough. I wasn't a shot caller, I wasn't gang leadership, but I was someone who mattered. Because everyone needs a tattoo artist. The gang members need their identifiers. The guys doing long stretches need to mark their time. The ones who lost people need memorials. The ones getting out soon want something to remember their years inside. I was the only one who could give them that. My work had improved dramatically. I'd figured out how to modify machines for better precision, sometimes using multiple motors, sometimes using springs from beds to stabilize the needle. I'd refined my ink recipe. I'd learned to work with the body's movement, the uneven lighting, the constant threat of interruption. I was doing pieces now, not just symbols, chest pieces, back pieces, full sleeves that took months, working in 15-minute sessions between guard rotations. And the meanings? I knew all of them now. A crown with 5 points, Latin kings. I wouldn't tattoo this on someone who hadn't earned it. The gang would find out, and I'd have a problem. A spider web on the neck. Someone's claiming they've done serious time. I'd check their story before I inked it. If they're lying, the web becomes a target on them. Names with crosses, memorials, I did these for free sometimes. Some things are above currency. La Virgen, the Virgin Mary, in Mexican and Chicano culture, this is protection. But in prison, it's also status. The bigger the Virgin, the higher the rank. I'd learned to size my work to the client's standing. I'd also learned the lines I wouldn't cross. I wouldn't tattoo someone's face without them proving they'd thought about it for at least a month. I wouldn't do gang identifiers on kids. And yes, there were kids in here, 18-year-olds who made one mistake. I wouldn't work on anyone who'd been coerced. In a place where I had almost no autonomy, these small choices mattered. But you also deal with the complications, infections that spread wrong, allergic reactions to the ink, pieces that need fixing because the first artist didn't know what they were doing. I'd become a nurse, a counselor, and an artist all at once. Year 4, I was getting out in less than a year, but inside I'd become something I never expected.
I wasn't just a tattoo artist anymore. I was the tattoo artist. Multiple prisons in the system knew my name. Transfers requested me when they arrived. Guards knew what I did and looked the other way, partly because some of them wanted work too. Partly because I'd proven I wasn't a disruption, I was teaching now. Young guys who came in with drawing skills, who wanted to learn the craft. I passed down the recipes, the machine modifications, the techniques for working in bad conditions. I developed a style that was recognized, crude by outside standards, but distinctive. Lines, high contrast, no shading, but depth created through spacing, prison blackwork. They call it on the outside. I just called it Tuesday. The hierarchy respected me because I'd never chosen a side. I tattooed everyone, different gangs, different races, different crimes. My neutrality was my protection. Switzerland with a needle. But I'd also seen things that stay with you. The kid who got a teardrop at 19, cried through the whole thing. 3 weeks later, found in the yard, his first kill behind bars, the guy who got his daughter's name covered up because she stopped writing. Name gone now replausi. He didn't talk about her anymore. the man serving life who asked for a clock without hands on his chest. "Time stopped for me," he said. "This way everyone knows." These aren't just tattoos, they're confessions, resumes, regrets made permanent, and I was the one who made them that way. Outro 5 years. 5 ranks from a newcomer with nothing to the most respected artist in the system. When you walk out those gates, you'll have skills no apprenticeship on the outside could teach. You'll have stories no one would believe. You'll have a reputation that follows you both inside and outside the system. Some artists spend decades perfecting their craft in sterile studios with professional equipment you learned in a cell, with a motor from a fan, ink made from burnt plastic, a needle bent from a guitar string you learned under pressure literally and figuratively. Your lines might not be perfect. Your shading might be rough. Your designs might be crude. But every tattoo you've done has a story. And now you have one too.